Propagate your rubber tree like this in winter, and come spring, you'll have more baby rubber trees than you can handle. First, pick a healthy leaf from your rubber tree. Make sure to keep the petiole attached. This is the key to it rooting and sprouting later.
So the video that you just watched is not entirely wrong, but for certain plants, it is very wrong. So when it comes to plants like the Ficus elastica or the rubber tree, you have to pay attention to where you're cutting if you want to prop it successfully. So when it comes to a Ficus elastica or a rubber tree or a plant like this, you want to make sure that you cut it at a node. If you don't cut it at a node, then you won't produce a new leaf. In the video, we see them cut a leaf and they said that it'll root. However, it can root, but will it grow a plant out of it? No. So that video is showing a new stem come out and everything like that from a leaf cutting, and that's not true. Some plants can do that, like succulents and begonias, for example, but rubber trees, monsteras, and philodendrons and aroids, for the most part, cannot create a new plant off of the leaf alone. So I'm going to show you guys how to properly cut a plant, and especially a Ficus elastica, for this video, because the TikTok that I just showed you was recommending that plant and they didn't do it right. So let me show you guys how to get it done correctly. So what we'll need for a Ficus elastica cutting is some clean pruning shears. So let me go find some because I don't know what I did with mine. So you want clean pruning shears, and you probably want to wear gloves because when you cut a Ficus elastica or a rubber tree, they can produce a sap, and it might be unpleasant if you get in contact with it. So I would recommend wearing gloves if you're uncomfortable with cutting plants. All right, so I'm looking at this Ficus elastica, and this one was a rescue, and I want to trim it down, but I don't know where to cut. So we want to find a node. So when we're looking for a node would typically come out where a leaf would emerge. It would be these little bumps that you see right here. So whenever we're cutting it, we want to cut below the node, so whenever we plant it and put it in water or whatever medium that we want, where it'll be able to form roots, because roots will come out of the node and then eventually it'll grow out of the plant. All right, so when it comes to the Ficus elastica, I want to make sure I cut below the node. So node is here, and I'm going to cut below. So I'm probably going to cut around here so I can put it in water. So 1, 2, 3, and I dropped it. I've cut the Ficus elastica, and there is some sap coming out. So that's totally normal. It's okay. You just have to let it callus over and give it some time to do that. Here is my cutting that I just did. As you can see, this is where a new leaf would emerge. This part would open up and a new leaf would come out. And usually you want to have 1 or 2 leaves on your node. And here I'm going to have 1 leaf, which is totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this leaf off. I don't know why I was trying to use my hands. It's just right there. And now this part is going to go in water while this part is not. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in water. Actually, I'm going to first put my rooting powder, and then I'm going to put it in water. And I'm going to throw this leaf away. This will not turn into a new plant. I just want you guys to know that. This is not going to turn into anything new. If it roots, it's just going to be a living root. If you've ever seen those heart Hoyas, the one that looks kind of like a heart and it's just sitting in the pot, that'll probably never grow, because that is just a leaf and it doesn't have a node to grow off of. So this will not grow. For a ficus specifically, like I said, some plants can, like succulents and begonias, but this will not. So here's the water. I haven't done anything to it. This is literal tap water. You just need to fill it up with some lukewarm water, nothing too cold, nothing too hot, just right, just like Goldilocks. And you just fill it up with water, and here's what we're gonna do. You don't have to do this. I don't have the best luck when it comes to rooting. So I put a rooting powder which activates a node on the plant that we cut, so it can help activate the roots quicker. So I don't You don't have to buy it, but it is helpful to get a rooting powder or something like that to get the roots going. So I know there's some good ones like Kiki's cloning paste, and some people use root drops or prop drops or something like that. I don't spend that much money. I think I spent $5 on this. This is Take Root Hormone, and this is what I use for my props. So I'm gonna open this up, and it's like this white powdery substance inside. This is the ficus cutting that was from earlier, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this in water. This is gonna be the rooting powder first and then water. So here's the rooting powder. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shove this in to the rooting powder so it can get the powder in. So bam, nice and easy. Look, it's got the powder in it. And now all you have to do is put it in water. And that's it. As you can see, the node is in the water. I don't need to dip the whole thing in. As long as the node is in, then it should be able to produce roots. You don't want to get the leaves in the water, because if you do, it can damage it. It can just cause a whole bunch of problems. So try to keep the leaf or any growths away from the water. After that, you just put it against a bright light or a grow light and give it some time, and eventually you'll get roots.